Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day, where I'm going to be talking about turning your nonfiction book into an online course. Um, as usual, there's a blog post accompanying each of these videos that you can find on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. If you're watching the recording of this video, I highly recommend, unless you just want to see the housekeeping beginning part, skip ahead to the 2-minute part of the video where you can see me get going on the topic properly. So there's a blog post that accompanies these on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. If you don't find the blog post right away, you can click the magnifying glass at the top right and search for the keywords that you see here on the screen. These blog posts are useful for if you don't like watching videos, but also if you prefer links to sort of other resources and stuff like that, you'll find them there. The videos are published on our YouTube channel at LeanPub. Please like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff on our YouTube channel. In addition to these Lean Publishing Tip of the Day videos, you'll also find new release videos and book launch videos and podcast videos that are lengthy interviews with LeanPub authors talking about themselves and their backgrounds and careers, about their books and whatever it is they've written about and they're an expert in. And at the end, they talk about their experience as a writer and self-published author. So that's a kind of a general interest / writing and publishing podcast, which I really enjoy doing. If you're a LeanPub author yourself, it should be easy, hopefully easy for you to find me online and ask me if you'd like to be on the podcast or do a launch video. That's something I love doing. We don't obviously have time to, accept everyone and do everything, but we can't think about it unless you ask us. So please reach out. And if you're thinking of publishing a book on LeanPub, it's as easy as going to our website at leanpub.com and clicking the sort of like avatar at the top right and clicking Create Book, and you can get going. We have all kinds of obviously sort of great tutorial resources and stuff like that to get you to the point where you click the Publish button. So here we are approaching the 2-minute mark. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2-minute mark of this Lean Publishing Tip of the Day video. Today, I'm going to be talking about turning your nonfiction book into an online course. The high level thing here is that if you've written an entire nonfiction book manuscript, one thing that you obviously can do is click the publish button and get it published, self-publish it on various platforms online. And we'd recommend LeanPub. There's also other ones, Amazon KDP, Ingram Spark, stuff like that. And of course, you can also, if you want to, you can shop it around to different book publishing companies, see if they'll take you up. You can even try and get an agent, stuff like that, if that's the route you want to go. But there you are. You've got a complete nonfiction book manuscript. And the sort of thing, the interesting thing is a lot of people kind of stop there. But you've done all this work. You've got this great resource available to you that there's so many things you can do with. In the old fashioned way, I guess, you could go on a book tour. You could talk about your book. Today you could literally go on a book tour. You could book yourself times at bookstores or clubs that are devoted to your subject, or meetups or something like that, wherever you can afford to go or want to go traveling. You can also try and get on TV, and you can invite yourself on a podcast. Like, these are all things that, because you have this book manuscript, these are things you can do. You can take your book manuscript and you can turn it into social media posts, quotes, stuff like that. You can use it as a kind of calling card. If you've self-published the book somewhere, to introduce yourself to people that you admire or you'd like to meet, give them a free copy of your book, and let them know about you. A nonfiction book manuscript, various ways you can use that to help and boost your career and stuff like that, or boost your influence in your area if you've got a message that you're trying to get out. But in addition to all of those things, one thing you can do is you can create an online course. So the next question is, what do I mean by an online course? And that can mean a lot of different things. I'm a big fan of the Great Courses and the Great Courses Plus. I know from having spoken to someone who did a Great Courses lecture series that they make you write out the whole thing in advance. You have to word for word. And that could be, anywhere to the 36 half-hour lectures. So it's essentially you've written the book if you do that. And there's good reasons for that, because things like the Great Courses are highly produced. There's a whole team of people. You're in a studio. Everything's got to be prepared. And the last thing they want is you improvising on the spot, or, needing to go back or forgetting what you've done, et cetera. So everyone needs to have a script. That's one version of an online course. It's an online video lecture series that's highly produced. I know from interviewing people who've done Coursera courses years ago, so forgive me if some of my information is outdated, but basically Coursera video courses are video courses where I think you've written out the script in advance, and then you kind of do You get some training, I think, but you are going to be doing a lot of the video production yourself. If these are the kind of highly scripted videos, that there's a lot of production. It can be very hard. Producing 1 minute of good lecture video can take an hour in the end, even if you know what you're doing, but you end up with a highly produced online video course, which essentially, and so we say course, what that means is it's something that's packaged together, covering a subject by a subject matter expert, kind of segment by segment, probably with individually titled segments, this sort of course version of a book of chapters in books. And then people kind of buy it as a single thing or buy access to it as a single thing. Another version of an online course is something where you'll actually get, there might be videos, but it might all be just reading material, stuff like that you might view online. And you might also have supplementary material that you can download. I know the Great Courses does that. There might be ebooks that accompany, or an ebook or ebooks or PDFs or some kind of documents that accompany the online course as well. And there's also things like, Khan Academy and stuff like that, where you kind of, watch somebody do something in a series of videos. They sort of talk to you, they show you how to do it, they walk you through it, and ideally you'll be, following along yourself along the way. And then yet another type of online course is, obviously actually there are online university courses now. Hopefully that's straightforward enough to understand what that is. But an independently published or platform published online course can also be something that has quizzes and exercises. Exercises are typically things that you sort of complete yourself, and you can find the answer somewhere, but you're not being graded. Quizzes are things that are actually graded. So with this type of course, you're going to basically take tests. And you're going to, sitting in front of your computer, on your phone, or on your device, you're going to take tests. You're going to get graded automatically, and then in the end, if you pass, you'll get a certificate of completion, probably with a grade. So those are the various types of online courses. LeanPub, so then the next question is, how do you create an online course? Once you've chosen one of these things, how do you create it? That's going to depend on the platform that you've chosen. On LeanPub, let me just share a tab here. We make this really easy. If you've already written your book manuscript on LeanPub, you can basically, we've created this really robust, amazing, AI-based service called Course AI that basically takes your LeanPub manuscript and turns it into a course. This can be an amazing way of unlocking a new audiences. Basically, this is one of the main reasons to create a course from your book nonfiction book manuscript. Not just taking the opportunity because you've already got this whole manuscript, you might as well do something more with it. But online courses are things that people who have professional development budgets from their company, and they may even have requirements like you need to spend an hour a year working on your skill and showing us some results. Those kind of people, if they're people in that situation, it's often, reading a book doesn't sort of resolve the issue. They need to take an online course. So if you create an online course from your book, anybody in the world who works in your area for a company that has professional development hours can now buy your course, hopefully using their company credit card, and then they can take the course. And whereas they might not have actually, read the book or used a company card to buy your book. So with LeanPub, we produce this at the click of a button. It does cost some money. And click of a button sounds easy. There's actually a lot of research, a lot of work, a lot of work on our end creating this amazing Course AI product. But if you've written an entire nonfiction book manuscript on LeanPub, I highly recommend you consider doing this. On your end, it costs some money. It's a click of a button, but you have a brand new, essentially, product that you can price 10 times higher, 5 to 10 times higher than your book is priced. And then we and you can go out there and try and find new buyers for it. So it's kind of like creating a whole new product line, if you want to think of it that way, from the kind of seed, which is your book manuscript. We also have a global author service ourselves, which costs a bit more. But if you get the Global Author Max, and I'm actually working on this right now with an author, we will actually record 3 hours of podcast style kind of, interview sessions with you. We cut those up into a number of different videos, and then those videos are added to your course that's generated from Course AI. So all you have to do, in addition to writing the entire book at first, and then having 3 hours of interviews with me, is do those interviews with me, answering questions podcast style, which I really enjoy. It's a lot of fun. and we get to know each other a little bit. And in the end, you'll have all these great videos. Just to show you what a LeanPub course looks like. Let me go here. Here I am looking at my demo account library. You can see I've got a bunch of in LeanPub libraries default to books, but there's also courses in here. If you have a course in your library, you click on it, you click Start the Course, and I'm just choosing Obi Fernandez's course here because we did the videos for this. This was different from what I was describing before, but we did a series of videos, and you can see that at the top of a LeanPub kind of lesson, we call them. It's the course version of a chapter. You can put the videos in there, and people can play them right in LeanPub, which is really amazing. Our course videos are not the idea isn't that the course videos are the content itself. The content is actually from the book. But the video is there as the kind of break, a kind of breather, and a sort of extra kind of contact with you to give someone. So in a sense, it's kind of like, 3 hours of kind of, hopefully, if I asked good enough questions, it's like 3 hours of consulting with you, or approaching 3 hours of consulting with you, which is really great. If you go into and let me just show you what a quiz looks like. So people typically on LeanPub courses, I won't go into the details there, but they have a number of attempts. You can start the quiz, and then the quizzes in LeanPub courses produced by Coursera are these, multiple choice questions and answers. If you want to create a course yourself on LeanPub, you can do that too without using our Coursera thing. Essentially, you kind of split your book chapters up into lessons in the course. And then you can add your own videos if you want to, things like that. But you can also, of course, create your own course if you want to. So without going into it too much further, that's my little spiel about why you should turn your book manuscript for a nonfiction book into an online course. You've done all this work, you've produced this amazing thing. There's all kinds of people out there who can be reached in the form of a course, who can't be reached in the form of a book. Again, that may be because they have corporate training budgets, stuff like that, and professional development hours to put in. It may be that they like confirming to themselves that they've really understood the content that you've written. One of the reasons we built the courses platform on LeanPub to accompany the books platform is that a lot of people sort of thought of their LeanPub books as courses anyway. So giving people kind of automatically intelligently created questions and quizzes that are automatically graded, where people can get certificates, was a natural outgrowth of that. So if you're interested in developing new audiences, finding new audiences, growing your audiences, and hopefully growing your revenue as a self-published author, and you've already completed writing a nonfiction book manuscript, I highly recommend you consider finding the right platform for turning it into a course and doing so. So thanks very much, everyone, for watching this live stream today.